Hi there, my lovelies. So, I thought I would do something a little bit different for this video. Just because I kind of thought it would be fun to do a holiday themed one. And with Easter coming up, I'm sure a lot of you are going to try to wonder how anything could be horror orientated around Easter. But I got one that, at least namesake wise, definitely is a Easter style or themed one. We're going to talk about the legend of Bunnyman Bridge. If you don't know where that is, and older kids around my age will probably more than younger, if you remember anybody who's a little bit older, there was a lot of time where Scariest Places on Earth or Most Haunted or any really horror based show in the late 2000s and late 1990s and early 2000s, a lot of them did specials on this or documentaries or just in general spoke about this topic. Now, here's the thing. This story is a urban legend, but it does have basis in some truth, okay? And we'll get to that after I tell you the urban legend. So to start off with, this happened in the early 1900s. Now, the legend goes in Virginia, there is Clifton. I want to call it Clifton. Clifton, Virginia. There is a Fairfax station which has a bridge, which has become popularly known as the Bunnyman Bridge after, of course, this incident. Now, what happened in that is now, just take into consideration, like I said, this is based on a legend. So some things are going to seem extraordinarily crazy. Now what happened is there was an insane asylum in the local area that was going out of basically capability of handling all of its patients that were in the hospital. It's an insane asylum. Back in that day, it was a lot easier to be actually hospitalized for insanity. If you ever look up some of the standards on what you could be institutionalized for, there's a lot. And it would not be very hard for many people nowadays to end up in an insane asylum themselves. So that's a scary notion. But anyhow, there's this insane asylum in this area, right? Well, it's going to be shut down. So all of these lovely, now we're talking also about convicted criminals, people who were put in an insane asylum to be locked away. Well, there was a bus that while it was passing Bunnyman Bridge, as it's known now, it crashed. And it had where a lot of the convicts were escaped because of it and just basically running around in the area. Thanks to multiple searches, almost every single convict was able to be found except for two. Now, these two convicts, there was multiple searches continuously to try to find them. Now, what ended up happening is not long after these searches were being done, one of the convicts were found hanging from the bridge. Now, some accounts say that there was also a signed note with it that said, "The Bunnyman." In other words, a calling card, essentially, where this person was claiming the death or murder of this other person. But according to legend, the second convict, the one who, probably murdered this person, because let's face it, if you're leaving a note, you are probably the killer. This person literally was not found, according to legend. Although there were multiple accounts and numerous numbers reportings of animal carcasses being hung from trees, which supposedly to this day still has where animal carcasses are hanging from the trees in the local area of the Bunnyman Bridge. Now, I do warn anybody who's hearing this story, please don't travel out there and go to see this bridge, especially around like Halloween time. It's its most popular time, and the sheriff's department tends to go a little bit heavily on their reinforcement of the bridge due to the factor of the legend and also the account in the early 90s, which is why a lot of the channels were doing all of the documentaries or exposing the story, was because a couple of teenage kids on the anniversary of the incident of the crash that led these convicts to be able to be released into this area, they went to Bunnyman Bridge. Now this again is another legend. So there was actually, rest in peace their souls, unfortunately, teenagers who were found hung from the bridge, not, no, I'm sorry. I had to stop for a moment. So please do not just go to this bridge thinking that it's just a fun attraction to see. It actually is a little bit more worrisome than you think, even though it doesn't have where the actual story of the convicts of what, it doesn't have any history showing that a asylum closed down and that these, convicts were transported. There is no actual evidence of that or written record of it, but in the 1970s, there are multiple reports of a man being seen in a white outfit. Now, some reports say that it was a bunny suit, which is why a lot of people associate it with the Bunny Man Bridge. Other people say, and this is horrible to say out loud, but it's part of the story. My apologies for anybody who this triggers or upsets. But a Ku Klux Klan looking ensemble that this person had on. So in other words, the white robes with the, you get my point. So that's the only actual physical reports or evidence that actually can be found on the case. But these 3 teenagers, there were 2 boys and a girl, they went out during Halloween to the bridge. Now, if you're wondering, nowhere in the legend or anywhere you can find on record does it give an exact date that Halloween would be the prime time to go to do so. But as you guys can guess with how 90% of hauntings deal with the, Day of the Dead, as it actually is a more heightened or spiritual time. So it's not exactly thinkable that maybe the bridge is more active if there really is truly anything there. But even to this day, there are still reports of small animals, carcasses, like I said, being hung from trees. I know for a fact that Scariest Places on Earth did a documentary on that. So if you want to, or not documentary, but did an episode on it. I also know that there was a documentary done on it, which is why I probably mixed the 2 up for a second there. So if you want to do a lot more research on it, it does give in some of those a lot more coherent timeline, because unfortunately if you just Google search this, a lot of these sites are going to say it's just an urban legend and it's not really based on any facts, because unfortunately, like I said, there is no medical record of any facility that is an insane asylum in their local area that A, shut down, or B, had any convicts or any patients being ridden on a bus to transport. So that part might not be true, but would we all put it past somebody, especially after that craze that we had in the early 2010s with all those people dressing up in clown costumes and terrorizing people? Would you all put it past somebody to dress up in a bunny suit and work on this urban legend that's known in this town? And it's Virginia, let's face it. Sometimes you're probably going to try to make something be more of an attraction to make your, town do better. And that's okay. That's understandable. I mean, they're a tourist attraction that has been that way since at least the 1970s with this, like I said. And it wasn't until I believe it was 93 that the kids incident happened where, like I said, unfortunately, these 3 young children, I wouldn't say young children, they were teenagers. I don't think anybody excelled past 17 or 18 in their group, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to go ahead and give names or anything like that. If you want to look up their names, you are more than welcome to, and do, your research on this too as well. It's a very interesting case of an urban legend in general, which is kind of why I thought I would just share it with you guys. Because literally it's this story of these convicts being transferred in Virginia from one asylum, or supposedly, to another, having crashed their vehicle, having where they were literally escaped, and then having 2 of them be where they were able to evade police, evade searches, and live off this land. I don't know about you guys, but not everybody has the skill or the ability to straight up just go into a set of woods and survive off of just that. Not all of us know what to eat. Not all of us know how to hunt. I mean, this person would have had to make shelter for themselves. They would have had to make fire, which wouldn't have been exposed and been able to be found by multiple search teams. So even as a young child, when I watched the show, I was like, I want to say I was only like 13, 14 when, any of these channels, like Scariest Places and all that. And I do like referencing them because they did do a really big special on it for Halloween one year where, like, they took you to Bunny Man Bridge. And they ran you through the entire legend. They ran you through all of the historical facts that they could back up and, give to you as a truthful story. Which is kind of interesting because you're going to find, if you try to research this case, that a lot of it has to do with almost hearsay. It's kind of like any town legend that you hear or you listen to. Like, I know personally with myself, I have a town legend that has to do with my own haunted house, as from a childhood, and I've told that story on my channel previously. If you want to watch that video, you're more than welcome to. I'm not going to keep rambling about it, but yeah, urban legends, sometimes they stretch immensely the truth to fit their narrative. Like in my one, I can only back up certain amount of facts, just like this one. I can't guarantee that every single little detail of the legend is true, and nor can anybody else that wasn't there when it happened, if it did in fact happen. But for instance, those 3 children, I keep calling them children. I'm sorry, I'm 30, guys, so, somebody who's literally over 10 years younger than me is kind of a kid to me, but hey, that's fine. So these young adults went out and they did something ridiculously stupid. They went to somewhere where they knew it was haunted, and do I believe that this Bunny Man came and got them? I doubt it. If you actually look back to when supposedly historically it happened, at the time that those murders happened, he would have been at least in his 80s. He would have been, at least what they have record-wise of what they assume, because like I said, there is no true record of this ever happening. So it's not like I can go, oh, this person on blah 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 day, and I wish I could. Unfortunately, they don't have that, at least to public knowledge. Like I said, I do know those shows were able to go a little bit more in depth because they can go down avenues and ways to get the information that you and I are never going to be able to, because we don't have the authority to. So that's upsetting, but here's the thing about Bunny Man Bridge that always bothered me as a kid. When it came to the Bunny Man Bridge, there was 2 convicts, like I said, that were able to, for an extended period of time, live in these woods without the first one even ending up underneath the bridge, which is what spurred the legend to begin with of the Bunny Man Bridge, was this convict being found, supposedly, right? Well, the thing with urban legends is, and I've kind of pointed this out with some other ones before, a lot of them have some essence to their story and some truth. Like for example, the guy with the hook, that urban legend has, where it's based on an actual real story of a killer, or the bodies found in hotel rooms. There have been actual cases of that, but they're so far and few in between. Even the rat in the toilet one, there is actually a lady who had a rat climb up into her sewer in New York, or from the sewer into her toilet in New York City. So some urban legends have a little bit of fact, but they're usually stretched for narrative purposes. You're not going to be scared as badly if you only know that there's one murder that's went on this bridge, as badly as you're going to be as if this person is 80 plus some years old and he's still murdering. My personal opinion is when it comes to those kids, I think that, unfortunately, they probably told somebody they shouldn't have that they were going out to this bridge. Unfortunately, somebody probably had a vendetta against them, took advantage of the factor that they would be out in the middle of nowhere, and did the horrific things that they did. And I will say this, when you do look into this, if you are not prepared to hear a little bit more of a detailing of what happened to those 3, be pre-warned, it is kind of brutal what occurred to those 3 teenagers. If I'm not mistaken, one of them, unfortunately, was, advisory. This is some graphic detail right here. He was unfortunately, I think it was one of the males, was gutted from sternum to, groin. So unfortunately, his insides were outside when he was found. The other two, I believe, were just strangled by whoever as their cause of death. But one of them was severely, which is my reasoning of thinking that it had to be somebody who had a vendetta against these three, because supposedly one was the girlfriend to the other one, and the other one was just the best friend. And I guess it was, if I'm getting my facts right, keep in mind, I'm remembering something that happened back when I was 13 years old, and again, I'm 30. So some of these details might be a little vague in my mind, and unfortunately, not very much is detailed on this. It might be that the families don't want their records being put out there or associated with this bridge in order to keep people from not going to it. Which, in my opinion, what you guys need to do is take into consideration that this actually occurred. And that stuff like this can occur anywhere. It doesn't matter where. Anybody can be, a bad person. Anybody can harm you or do horrible things to you. The point that I'm bringing up with this story, and I wanted to be a little bit more, Easter themed for you guys, but I am a horror-based channel, so murder, mayhem, and, mystery is kind of what I'm good at. But it's also, like I said, it's an unsolved case. These, 3 kids had their life unfortunately snuffed out at a very young age. And I think it goes to as a warning for anybody who is thinking they're brave enough to go venture into this bridge, especially at night when it's supposedly more active for this. You're taking a risk. You are entering somewhere where is treacherous. It's like any other time when you're going to do something like this, guys. Please be safe. Please be smart. I hope you're going to have a wonderful Easter holiday, and I hope you enjoyed this little short story. If you want to know any information that I didn't give to you, Google is a wonderful way to be able to find all of these details very quickly. Unfortunately, like I said, you're not going to find very much on historical facts on it, because a lot of it is a urban legend. There are going to be some things, like I said, about the incident with those 3 kids. And even that is hard to find a backup of historical records. Because like I said, either it really didn't happen and it's part of the urban legend, or those families decided they didn't want their loved ones' information being put out into the public. Which again, that's their complete right. That's their family. They're the ones who unfortunately lost it, and their lives were snuffed out. So they have every right to be able to keep all of their information that they'd like to do themselves. But go and put that as a warning in your, all your brains, guys. I don't know who watches me or who doesn't. If you're young or if you're old, I don't care either way. I am happy to have you come join me on my wonderful little trip of just getting to show you guys some different horror-based stuff and, maybe going outside your comfort bubble every now and then. I really do hope you have a wonderful Easter. I'm hoping you're doing better in 2021 than we were last year. I know it was a really hard year, and hopefully things are going to start looking up for everybody. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for your time. Let me know if anybody wants to see anything specific from me, and that means anything. If you want me to do a topic of a story that you want me to cover and discuss for you, or if there's anything at all. You want me to do a movie review, you want me to do a book review, or whatever you guys want. I love hearing from you guys. It gives me a little bit of knowledge of what you actually are interested in seeing from me. It also helps me out in immense ways to be able to know what's modern of being, interest for people who are actually loving horror stuff these days. I know the horror industry has changed quite a bit, so let me know what you guys want. If you have enjoyed this video and want to check out anything else, I also do streaming over on Twitch. I do random stuff over there, like You Laugh, You Lose challenges. I sometimes watch scary videos. I do multiple urban legends because they take a little bit longer, like you guys are seeing in this video, to go ahead and go all the different information and let you guys know what it actually is. So anything like that, it is twitch.tv backslash voodoo doll 90. Also, I also have my TikTok. And anytime if you guys want to see that, where I do all kinds of just silly stuff. And I also talk about medieval torture methods that may or may not be well known to you. So, that all being said, I love you guys. Let me know what you want to see from me. And oh yeah, my Twitch is Kiki Voodoo Doll 666. So, if you want to let me know on any information on any of those, or you're more than welcome to message me on here, comment, like, whatever you want. Please do subscribe. It helps me so much. I love you guys. You have a wonderful holiday and a wonderful day. Wherever this finds you, morning, evening, or night, have a good one. And I love you all. Bye. I'll see you in the next one.